Hello everyone, this is Sabrina with Sabrina's Crafty Home Decor. This is a cigar box that my husband picked up for me, and right now I'm just sanding down the price tag that was on it, as well as any rough patches of wood or dings in the wood that I found, just trying to smooth it out a little bit. And now I'm taking some quick drying spackle, and I'm mixing it with Waverly Cashew chalk paint, and I'm gonna mix those together, and my tool broke. So now we're gonna use that mixture to cover the lines. I couldn't get that candle to stay on there, but I realized it's too thick anyway, the spackle, so I added a little more paint here to it, and I switched to using a brush, and the brush was so much better. There we go. So the paintbrush worked out a lot better. It gave me, it really made it smoother and not so textured. So really I'm concentrating on anywhere there's wording, because it was engraved into the wood, so the only way to cover that was with the spackle. So anywhere there's wooding, as well as where I hot glued the lid into place. So I'm using the spackle to cover where the line where the lid is connected to the box. And don't forget, if you like this video, please click the subscribe button below, and then click on the bell, and then click on all. So the sides of this box were just really rough, so I decided to use the spackle mixture on the sides of the box as well, just to smooth it out. And then off camera, I'm starting to blow dry it here, but off camera I also sanded it down just a little bit, not a lot, because we don't want that lettering to show up again. So I sanded it down just a little, just to smooth it out a little bit. It's gonna have some texture, and that's okay, we want that. And then I finished painting it just with the chalk paint, not with the mixture. So again, that was Waverly Cashew chalk paint, and just I just put a top coat on all over. I didn't worry about the bottom, because that's all going to be covered, not seen. I mean, the bottom inside the box. So now I'm just sanding down the edges and the corners a little bit, just to give the wood a little more of a worn look and give that paint an older look. I personally like the old, rustic, worn, dirty look, but you don't have to do that. If you like a cleaner look, a fresher, newer look, you don't have to do the sanding or this part here. This is finishing wax. The color's black, from Jolie, and I picked that up on Amazon. And I just took a sponge that I have, and I'm just concentrating on the edges and the corners, just to kind of dirty the wood up a little bit. Now these napkins I picked up at decoupagenapkin.com. I just searched fall napkins and picked these out of some of the napkins. So this squirrel napkin, now the napkins, there's 4 images with each napkin, and they usually have 3 layers. So you just want that top layer. So you're going to peel the bottom 2 plain white layers off the napkin, so you're just left with that thin top layer. And then I tore the edges because straight edges show, and we want this napkin to blend into the background, and we don't want the edges to be seen. So I tore all the way around the squirrel, and I'm going to do that same thing with the leaves. Except for at the very bottom, you'll see I didn't tear the edges. The bottom's going to have a straight edge, but only because that's going to be covered. You're not going to see that straight edge at the bottom anyway. So it wasn't necessary. But both sides, as well as the top of the leaves there, I did tear. And this took 2 napkins, or 2 images of the same napkin, to complete. And so for the second one, I'm having to find a good spot to tear the napkin where the 2 napkins will blend together, and you won't be able to tell that they are 2 separate pieces. So you just apply a thin layer. I use my fan brush and apply a thin layer of Mod Podge underneath the napkins, and just be sure it is a thin layer. If it's too thick, you'll cause wrinkles, and you can also accidentally tear your napkin. And then once it's in place, do another thin layer on top of your napkin, just to seal it in there. So now we're going to piece together some napkins on the sides. The left side just took the 1, but the right side's going to take 2 pieces. Unfortunately, I had a technical problem, so you're not going to see me get to see me finish the right side. But it took 2 pieces to finish the right side. So this napkin, I'd struggled a little bit with the right side. So I found it easier. I took a paintbrush and dipped it in water. And I realized I could see the outline of the squirrel through, because the napkins are so thin. So I traced it with the water so that I would know where to tear the napkin at to go around that squirrel. So these are pieces of foam, floral foam, that again I picked up from DT, from Dollar Tree, and hot glued them into place. And that is a wooden knob. I picked up a pack of them I found at Goodwill. And I'm just sanding off the finish. The finish they had on this, if I'd painted over it, the paint would have just peeled off. So I'm sanding off that finish so that the paint will stick. And I found it easiest just to take the sandpaper off of my sander and fold it in half and just use it that way. This is color is Burnt Umber by Apple Barrel. I picked it up at Walmart. It's my favorite brown. And now I'm going to get some, I think it's called Excelsior. It kind of looks like dry grass, or, old hay, dry hay to me. So I really like that for this fall decor. Now here I'm just hot gluing it into place, but I did put too much. So I was concerned about covering all that floral foam, and I ended up placing too much. So when I tried to put my decor on it later, it wouldn't sit right. So I ended up going back off camera and pulling off some of that top layer. Not enough to show the floral foam underneath, but enough where my decor sat there a lot better. So this pail I picked up at Goodwill. I thought it was really cute. And then I realized the price tag was still on it. So I was really struggling to get that glue off. So I paused the video and forgot to hit unpause before I painted. But this is, again, Burnt Umber by Apple Barrel. And now I'm working on that knob. And so what I've done is I took a tea light candle and I rubbed the wax all over the knob and then painted over that with the Waverly Cashew chalk paint. And then I dried it. And then I took that little piece of sandpaper and I sanded down just bits and pieces of it, just kind of taking off some chunks of paint to give it that chipped paint look. And I'm doing the same thing with these legs here. These are little wooden Christmas trees I picked up from Dollar Tree last year. And we're going to use those for our legs. And same process, painted them with burnt umber and then rubbed them down with wax and then painted them with the Waverly Cashew and then used the sandpaper here to sand off some of that paint to give them a chippy look. And then we're going to hot glue them into place. Just be careful of your spacing. And then I decided that I wanted the pail here to look rusty. So I used the burnt umber by Apple Barrel. I keep saying that. And repainted over it and then sprinkled cinnamon and pressed it into the wet paint using this sponge. So while the paint's still wet, sprinkle your cinnamon and then use your sponge just to kind of press the cinnamon into the wet paint a little bit. So as it dries, it holds. And I bumped my camera here and didn't realize it, so it's kind of off screen, but it's okay. I didn't finish it on screen anyway. So I put a little piece of floral foam into the bucket there, the pail, and then I hot glued leaves there as well as some acorns and different fall items that you can see in there, food items, and a pumpkin there that I picked up again from Dollar Tree. And those pom-poms there and the dried flowers I picked up at Temu. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.